What's up, everybody? Crypto Noah back with another yield farming video. In this video, we're going to be talking about all things backtesting. When should you backtest? How to backtest? Which platforms to backtest on? Etc. etc. We're going to break down what yield farming is. But before we get into it, I do have to say none of this is financial advice. These are my own perspectives, my own research and opinions, and should be treated as such. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the content, starting off with what is yield farming. So there's 4 ways to get a yield. Staking. You can stake on the ETH Beacon chain and get a 13% APY. You can stake on Lido. You can stake on Rocket Pool. Depositing your funds on a money market platform such as Aave. The platform will facilitate lending and pay you an APR in exchange for providing liquidity. Staking your tokens on platforms such as Nexus Mutual to provide liquidity for insurance premium payouts. And the 4th way, the most profitable way, the way we talk about on this channel, is providing liquidity on decentralized exchanges in liquidity pools, and you get paid passive income whenever someone trades between your pool, and the amount of passive income you make determines on how narrow or wide your range is and how much liquidity your liquidity makes up in the pool compared to the proportion of the entire pool. So for example, if it's 100K in the pool and you have 10K in liquidity, you get 10% of all the trading fees from that pool. So now let's talk about backtesting. So first off, what is backtesting? So basically backtesting allows you to use a platform and say, hey, if I were to provide liquidity within this range with this amount of funds for these many days, how much money could I have made? All right. So now you know what backtesting is. When should you backtest? Well, the answer to that, it depends on your strategy. So if you're expecting price to stay within the same range it has been during your backtesting period, that's a good time to backtest because it'll give you a good idea as to what the yields would be if the price stays within that range, right? If you expect volume and the price stays the same, it's a good time to backtest. But if you're expecting price to increase significantly compared to the asset that it's paired with, so let's say you're Maple ETH and you think Maple's going to outperform ETH, then backtesting isn't as important because you're expecting prices to go within a different range. Let me show you what I mean. All right, so let's say you want to provide liquidity for Maple, right? And price is right here. And you think that Maple is going to do one of these, right? Backtesting isn't as important because price hasn't been in this range in a while. So for price to get here, volume is going to have to increase, right? So backtesting isn't as important. But if you think Maple is going to stay within this range, then you want to backtest so you can see like, okay, if it stays within this range, will it be worth it? Because you have to look at the volume. That's what you're mainly backtesting for, volume. Like, is the volume to TVL ratio good? Also, if the TVL increases significantly and the volume stays the same, you want to be aware of that because that's more mouths to feed. So you're not going to get as much passive income. The yield isn't going to be as good, right? So now let's go over the platforms that you backtest on and how to backtest. So the first platform is Metrics Finance. And I've made many videos on how to use this. It used to be called Builder Metrics, but they rebranded. So you go here, you type in Maple, you type in ETH, you select the fee tier, and then you simulate. So now what you're going to do is you're going to select a range, right? So this is my range here, 0.003506, 0.006627. Also, you want to make sure that whichever one is first on your chart is first here. So if I'm here, you can see that it's Maple ETH, but here it's ETH Maple. You want to hit this so that you change it so you get the right numbers, right? So I'm going to do 90 days. My minimum is 0.03506. My maximum is 0.06527. And let's say I want to test it for $10,000. All right. You can see that in the past 90 days, if I provide liquidity within this range, I would be getting 18.29% per month. And, it's funny because I've been in this thing for about 90 days and this is accurate. And I would have been getting 222% APR. So it's like, okay, it gives you all of the data here. Gives you the TVL, the fees, APR. You have to pay to get the correlation. But, I'm not really worried about the correlation because, we're experts over here. And if I go over to Revert Finance, you can see that it shows I'm getting 239% APR. And I've made 64%. And this is factored in current prices. Actually, ROI in this pool in a week and a month, right? And I rebalanced around a week ago. And right now, I currently have almost $1,000 in uncollected fees here, right? And you can see I've been in this position for 100 days And I've been literally just able to print money, and I haven't had to do jack shit. Literally put it in once, pause, and haven't touched it since. And it's just been paying me pretty good. Another platform you can use is DeFi Labs. The website is defi/lab.xyz. And you can do Polygon, Uniswap v3. We're going to do Uniswap v3. You type it in the pool. You can click the chain. So I want to do Maple. I'm going to do Maple ETH. First, you want to make sure the base token is ETH, right? So you want to put in the numbers, your minimum and your maximum. My minimum is 003506, and my maximum is 006527. And this gives you some different data, right? It gives you the volatility, the 24-hour active fees, et cetera, et cetera. That doesn't matter as much because, I'm thinking long-term. Shows you the ranges, liquidity density. So this is strategy one. Your strategy one is where I put in these numbers. Unbounded is if you use Uniswap v2, which is not concentrated liquidity. It just uses your liquidity from X to Y, but this is more inefficient because sometimes the liquidity doesn't get used. Concentrated liquidity rewards smart liquidity providers, right? So concentrated liquidity versus unbounded would have outperformed by almost 10%. APR is way higher, 107 versus 15, right? You would have collected much more ETH. You would have collected much more Maple. You would have collected much more fees, and you would have been in range 100% of the time. Well, I don't know how many days this is going by. I guess this doesn't allow you. Oh, this is last 30 days. Okay, so that makes sense. And then down here, cool thing about this, you can do strategy too. So it's like, okay, what if I want to compare it to if I would have did a tighter range, and you can do your tighter range in V2 using strategy 2, and it'll show you it. But for this one's sake, it shows you returns, your fees, and then this is an important thing right here. It shows your performance that you would have had if you would have just hodled Maple on its own and ETH on its own. And you can see that I outperformed in this liquidity pool with this range, the hodling, right? And that is even better because, as you guys know, I don't compound my rewards. If you've watched my videos, I don't compound my rewards. I take them and I send them to another wallet, and I'll use my ETH to buy Maple or other projects that I'm bullish on. So once they go up, I'll sell them for higher prices, and then that doesn't get factored in here, and then it'll outperform it even more. So guys, if you got value from this kind of content and you want to learn how to deploy these strategies like a professional market maker that's been doing this since the 19th century, make passive income with an elite group of people, with elite coaches, group calls, buy and sell calls, airdrops, just all things crypto alpha, click the link in the description, book a free strategy session. We'll answer any questions you may have on crypto or yield farming. You'll talk to me or one of our coaches, and we'll ultimately see if our program is a good fit for you. If not, we're happy to point you in the right direction. But with that, I'd like to conclude this video. If you got value, consider subscribing, drop a like, drop a comment, share with a friend. I thank you so much for tuning in. I love every single one of you watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and farm safe. Hey.